Welcome one, welcome all to the NES Classic, brought to you by Half the Race Gun. I will be your commentator for today, Noob Shot Zokyo, and here is the grid for today. So on pole position it's going to be Joe of the Fire, Rapid Gator lining up alongside in second. It's going to be myself, NS Zokyo 9 in third, GRM Bandit qualifying fourth, Dirt and DK managed to take 5th in qualifying. Wake will line up alongside in 6th. Felix will be starting from 7th on the grid. BLT James in 8th. Houdini Myers will be in 9th, and TSR Jimmy will be at the back of the grid in 10th. So with the grid rundown out of the way, we're about to get things underway here at Circuit de la Sarthe for the NES Classic. It's red. And now it's green, 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 and the cars are off plenty of wheel spin as the field fans out towards the back. Looks like Zokyo's actually having a run around the outside of Joe the Fire going into turn 1. Good launch by the Brit, but Joe having to defend. Massive squabbling in the back of the field as well. Joe defends the first position for now as they make their way down the hill. It's still side by side for the lead, getting very close, and just about manages to fend myself off. With both of the McLaren second and third at the moment, they're looking quite strong. Joe starting to get a bit of a gap. He was very fast out of Tetra Rouge and may have already broken the slipstream a little bit. GRM Bandit also looking strong in the slipstream of both McLarens. Ducking and diving. It looks like they're going to just about be 3 wide, are they? Coming up to the first chicane on the Mulsanne straight. Bandit just about ahead. And into the braking zone. It's going to be close, and indeed Bandit does manage to get himself up to second. That's a fantastic move by the American. Making the way on to the second portion of the Mulsanne straight. Dirt and DK also in the mix, still in 5th. Chasing down Rapid Gator. A bit further back there you see his teammate Felix in this event. Now trailing TSR Jimmy, so Jimmy's had a fantastic start, getting all the way up to 6th from the back of the grid. But it looks like he's going to be challenged as Felix tries for the outside line. As it looked like there was a car going straight on at the chicane. As there was also Wake running wide at chicane 2. We're going to have a replay. So it was Durton just getting his braking wrong and was forced to weave McGee his way through that section and rejoin. So moving on to after Mulsanne corner, it's looking like Bandit is going to be challenging for the lead with Joe of the Fire, and he's already gotten past. So Bandit having a lot of straight line speed with that Mercedes SLS, making the way through Indianapolis, and Joe the Fire's ran wide, and Joe the Fire's gone off. Joe the Fire has gone off. He's in the gravel, and James has done exactly the same thing, and so's Houdini as well. Plenty of cars getting it wrong in Indianapolis for the first time. And also it's looking like with that Durton running a little bit wide, and has span out in the back, it looked like, on the exit of Arnage, so that's unfortunate. Now watching as James is going to be challenging Felix on the run down to first chicane lap 2. Side by side yet again. The Corvette pulls ahead. Those classic design from the Britannia Racing team. Blue livery with the orange rims. Dates all the way back to season 1, and now look, oh, there's major contact between us, Jimmy and Durton. So that's going to be major damage for both cars, just getting their braking wrong, it would seem. Credit to Durton for waiting up and allowing Jimmy to get back past. But now James coming under threat again from Felix, and Felix does go past into 6th, and there's a bit of a twitch on exit by James, so that's going to really slow them down as they continue down the straight. Now look, Rapid Gator starting to catch up. and has gone ahead of Joe the Fire just before the braking zone of Mulsanne corner. So Joe's starting to fall back a little bit. Suspected damage caused from the pit box. But he's still fighting, and as they come up to the Porsche curves, the low downforce of the McLaren isn't really working out for Rapid, and they understeered and allowed Joe past with relative ease. Of course, the McLaren being from the 90s compared to the Corvette from the 2010s. The difference in aero certainly being apparent on that occasion. And now look, Felix is going to be challenging Rapid Gator. Rapid leaves the inside line open, but the pass is already made before the braking zone. So Felix gets ahead up into the top 4. And now look, it seems like James is also coming into the mix with this scrap. So James, looking a bit hungry, goes to the inside of Rapid and manages to just about get it to stick. There was a smidge of contact, a little bit of a lockup as well, as Felix clips the gravel, and that's allowing James to have a run on the outside of Arnage. He's very much ahead at that point, just squeezing that to the outside, but fair play to both of these. I think they're still side by side, and it looks like Rapid's going to try and make it 3 wide on the run up to the Porsche curves. Now look, James has to defend the inside and the outside at the same time. How's he going to cope with handling both? The outside line has been defended, but no, Felix on the inside. James couldn't quite defend, and Felix goes back up to 4th. Meanwhile, a replay, this was for the lead, so Zocchio going around the outside of Bandit into the first Porsche curve, seeming to get that move done quite nicely. So he's up into the lead of the race, now up to the Forged Chicanes, concluding lap 3, and it looks like... Oh, and Zocchio's actually had a very poor exit from that, perhaps serving a bit of penalty, so that's actually allowed Bandit back up into the lead of this one. And now look, James is going down the inside of Felix again. Fantastic scrap by these guys, has to be said. It's James just about ahead. Oh, Felix breaks later and manages to make the apex. They're serving a bit of the penalty. That's why the car was ghosted, but Felix has just about managed to defend the position, or have they? James back down the inside, side by side through these S's, and just about, they're still side by side, but indeed James does have to concede, and this is allowing Rapid Gator to really get into the mix as well. Rapid Gator right in the back of these guys. We're going to go to an onboard on Rapid Gator's car to see the action. So Rapid Gator actually has rear aero damage at this particular stage. James pulls to the right. Rapid now trying to follow James, and seeming to work because of the slipstream. James slots ahead. They're making their way up to the braking zone. A bit early on the brakes. Again, a bit of a lockup from James. Rapid having to give Felix a space, and indeed, there goes Felix with a massive slingshot out of the chicane. They're still in the slipstream though. On the run down towards Indianapolis, they are now. And Rapid again looking to the inside. So Felix didn't defend it on that occasion, and the McLaren we know is very strong on the straights as is, and is already ahead before the braking zone. Felix is going to try back down the inside. Maybe a smidge of contact, I couldn't quite tell from that, but Rapid just about manages to hold on. Felix perhaps looking to get a better run up to Arnage, doesn't quite work out on that occasion. Oh, a little bit of a slide. I think Rapid isn't going to be in the slipstream of James anymore, so Felix is really going to have a massive shot. We saw Rapid not being particularly strong at the Porsche curves. I don't think it's going to matter anyway, because Felix has already gone ahead before the braking zone again. Fantastic job by Felix on that one. And Rapid in the older car starting to suffer a bit through the Porsche curves at the hand of the Porsches. Still doing a good job though, currently 6th, but for how much longer? Wait on this straight, now coming under the slipstream and managing to make another pass. They're on the inside for the braking. Bit of a lock-up from the McLaren. And Wade gets the move done. Meanwhile, back for the lead, so Bandit currently in the lead, but Zokyo having a bit of a run. They're on the inside line, and they're approaching Indianapolis. And they just about managed to get there. Oh, Bandit runs a little bit wide, picking up a lot of dust on the tyres. And a massive slide from them. So they did well to keep it out of the wall on that occasion. It's going to cost them a fair bit of time. Meanwhile, we're now watching Felix, who seems to be pulling over to the side of the road. So Felix is out of this race, whether it's mechanical or what, who knows. The marshal's waving the wrong flag. Joe the Fire now coming under a bit of pressure from a fellow Corvette driver in the form of James. James has had a fantastic run so far, starting way down the order, now up into the top 4, and it might be onto the podium because he's down the inside. And James just about manages to get it to stick. You could see Joe looking for a bit of a better exit, and does indeed manage to get to the outside, which will be the inside for the King, shortening his route as much as he can, getting as close to the wall as possible. And they're still side by side as they make their way down to Mulsanne corner. But James's car perhaps just a little bit lower on the downforce settings, so able to keep ahead. It just crossed my mind that Joe's car did have damage, so that might also be coming into effect. But nevertheless, Joe still managing to stick with James, perhaps using a bit of fuel saving. Going down the inside. Again, the damage is slowing him down a bit, so he can't quite get the run that he needs. Britannia Corvette versus slightly on fire Racing Corvette. Two teams with a lot of history to the series. And now it's looking like Joe's going to try the inside, going into chicane 1. Thinks a bit better of it on that occasion, although James did brake a little bit late. And he's pretty much super glued to the back of him now, is Joe. Now pulling out the slipstream again, but will probably not be able to have as good of a run. Indeed, it looks like the Corvette of James is just a bit better on the straights at this stage. So Joe just sticking in the slipstream. Can't challenge into the braking zone at chicane 2. James actually having to serve a fair bit of penalty, and that's going to allow Joe to get past. So Joe the Fire back up into the top 3. Meanwhile, race leader NS Zokyo coming into the pit lane. So the first round of pit stops about to be served. Pitting at lap 7 of 16, so not quite the halfway mark. He's going to have to do a fair bit of fuel saving in the second stint if he's going to make this strategy work. Bandit also into the pits, as is James. So all of these guys having to probably fuel save a little bit going into the second stint. There you see Zokyo's team and the car pulling in. The McLaren Motorsport car, winner of the Season 1 Teams Championship. Joe the Fire, runner-up in Season 3 with that Corvette, and it looks like James has managed to get back ahead with an undercut strategy, so Joe the Fire pitting 1 lap later will not have to fuel save as much, and is already looking like they're going to be challenging James down the inside. They would have got the damage repaired, of course, would Joe. Will James be able to get any kind of comeback? Just in the slipstream. Don't think he's going to be quite close enough into the braking zone on this occasion. Indeed not. Meanwhile, this is TSR Jimmy in the Britannica Corvette. And it got reset because of it was cutting the line, or cutting the track too much. And that's them out of the race, unfortunately, just parking up at the Ford chicanes. GRM Bandit being chased down by Joe of the Fire, so Joe of the Fire with a lot more pace now that they got the damage repaired. Bandit having to defend as they go through. Porsche curves a bit wide, and Joe's already going down the inside and gets the move done. Great move by Joe on that occasion. There's yellow flags out for, of course, the stop car of Jimmy. Oh, bit of a slide from Wake. Wake now challenging James. James having to serve more of a penalty, so Wake goes through to 4th. So Wake's having a fair bit of a strong race as that's James into the wall. James into the wall completely Astro Robot 66 style. So that's unfortunate for them. They're going to lose a lot of time from that. Meanwhile, Zokyo being challenged for the lead by Joe the Fire. They're side by side coming down the straight. The McLaren should have the edge on the straight line, but in terms of the corners, it should certainly be the Corvette with the advantage. It looks like that is the case as the McLaren has pulled ahead for now. Going to a rear wing cam as they make their way through chicane 1. You can just see how the Corvette closes up thanks to that downforce, even in the dirty air. It not making much of a difference, a bit of a lag spike, and Joe the Fire is just about alongside, but no, the McLaren pulls away again. Has to slot back into the slipstream, does Joe. And again, a little bit of a run, but Zokyo defending the inside well. Joe a bit later on the brakes going into the chicane, but has to back out of it. So decent defense, decent racing between the two of these, very respectful. And now, oh, running a bit wide, and this could be an opportunity. He's going to run wide at Indianapolis, and that has allowed Joe the Fire to easily get past down the inside. He did not need to think twice about that one. Joe the Fire, our new race leader. A bit of a slide from GRM Bandit, who's coming under pressure from Wake. There's a lap down car. I think that's actually Jimmy. So Jimmy getting back into the race, but a few laps down, I believe, at this stage. Bandit having to defend from Wake. Wake looking to the outside line, going up to the Porsche curves, where you'd think the Porsche would have the advantage, and indeed does. Wake up into 3rd place. Bandit also having to serve a bit of the penalty from that section. Meanwhile, Wake has managed to catch up to myself, Zokyo, and will be in the slipstream again, defending the inside and then squeezing down the angles. It looks like the Porsche's just about ahead before the braking zone, and yep, manages to get that move done. Will there be a retaliation from the McLaren? The slipstream combined with the top speed of it will certainly come into effect, you'd think. But look at this, we're going on board with GRM Bandit, who's having an even better run on the McLaren. Looking to the inside, it's not defended at all. And they're already ahead before the Indianapolis section. Very late braking, you can see Bandit's actually closing back up to Wake. So Wake, perhaps not as quick as Bandit on this particular stage of the race. And that's certainly seeming to be the case, as Bandit is now trying what Wake did previous, going around the outside of the Porsche curves. And he manages to get it to work. Fantastic driving from Bandit. And this scrap is certainly not over. He's still having to defend for all his life. And it looks like Wake might be trying to line up the inside again, or a cutback through the Corvette Virage. Doesn't quite work out for him. He's going to have to stay behind for now. Maybe a dive. He's lining himself up for it. No, slots back in. So GRM Bandit has secured 2nd place, at least for now. Making their way onto lap 15. Now Wake, oh, seeming to get, oh, very wrong at the 4 chicanes in the braking zone. Just sliding about. I think the tyres must be completely shot on the Porsche. And that is allowing Zokyo to catch back up in the slipstream range now as they come up through turn 1. Braking hard again, serving a bit of the penalty, and that's Zokyo going round the inside and then to the outside, getting the move done. Of course, helped out a lot by Wake serving that penalty. And now with the penalty gone, it's side by side yet again between Wake and Zokyo. Coming up to the first chicane on the Mulsanne straight. They're side by side, there's contact. And somehow they're still just about side by side. Slide by myself. Slide McGee, they don't call me that for nothing. Bit of contact again on exit as both of them were thinking the same thing about giving the other one the Rosberg squeeze. Funny how the tactics played out in this one. Wake having a slot back into the slipstream of the McLaren. Making their way back down. Can't challenge on this occasion. Looked like I outbroke myself a fair bit going through there. And Wake right back behind me again. They also see Rapid in the background currently occupying 5th as Wake moves to the outside line coming up to Mulsanne corner. Will he be able to try something? It doesn't quite look like it, although he's nearly forcing the issue. Has to stay behind for now, but he's going to have another chance on the run up to Indianapolis, it has to be said. This is the final lap of the race, of course. This is make or break. Of course, I knew at this stage that if Wake got past, there'd be my chance of a podium over, as Wake now going to the outside line through Indianapolis, has run a bit wide and has understeered off into the gravel. So that's Wake's chances diminishing from that one mistake. It's going to be this guy Joe of the Fire, who's had a very dominant performance in the second stint in particular, who is going to be our race winner here today in the NES Classic. Congratulations to them. So fantastic drive yet again. Joe with the Fire proving to be a very, very strong driver. It's going to be GRM Bandit with a fantastic second place for the HTP Motorsport Mercedes. Of course, that was driven by fan favourite Marcus Lauda back in the day. Myself, Zokyo, coming home in 3rd, Wake in 4th at the end of things. Great scrap with Wake, I have to say. Rapid Gator, the other McLaren, coming home in 5th. After starting 2nd, they'll be a bit disappointed with that. But a good result on their NES debut, it has to be said. Dirt and DK, the face of half the race gone in the end, came home in 6th, just serving a last little bits of their penalty. You may have watched the onboard stream that was given by Mr. Dirt and DK through that, as we now see Houdini Myers coming across the line. Will be the last of the finishers in that Repsol NSX team Honda NSX. And that pretty much concludes the NES Classic. I hope that you've enjoyed the action here today. I certainly have. This has been Nuke Shot Zokyo on Half the Race Gone, signing out. Thanks for watching.